Hello and welcome everyone to the first episode of season 2 of Christine's Blessing. I am.com. And in this episode, I want to acknowledge and complete season 1 of Christine's Blessing. First of all, that we had a season 1 to begin with is freaking downright awesome and amazing. I started at 365 podcasts and 365 days game on October 1st, on Thursday, October 1st. We are now 32 days into this podcast game, and the stats as stands, I am at 26 episodes recorded and out, which was 5 less than what I had promised myself, right? So I did 26 out of 31 episodes. Out of the 26 episodes on Anchor, there have been 100 plays. I have an estimated audience of 2 and used 7 unique listeners in the last 7 days. All right. Now, with this last week, the episode number 1, the top playing episodes, was episode number 1, When I Get Home, with 7 plays. We have episode number 2, The Inception, with 5 plays. We have My Unsung Hero, which I believe was either episode 3 or 4, with 4 plays. This Little Piggy has 3 plays. What You Resist has 4 plays. Superstitious, Who Me, 4 plays. And Woke Like My Mom has 4 plays. So those are my top episodes as of the end of October, right? And of my listeners, 100% of them are in the United States. 69% listen in on Spotify, 26% listen in on Breaker, 4% listen on Anchor, and 1% listen to my podcast on another platform. When I first started my podcast, 100% of my listeners were female. And then a week ago, I changed my cover art podcast, and now, as of today, 54% of my listeners are male, and 36% of my listeners are female, with 10% not specified. There is a non-binary section, and no one has selected that, right? And then the age group, all right? So 45% of my listeners fall between the age of 23 and 27. 21% fall between 45 to 59. 13% between 35 and 44. And 10% between 28 and 34. So first things first, I want to acknowledge that we're here. We're here, and I did it, right? Now, I'd have to pull up my calculator to see what the percentage is of, 26 divided by 31, all right, which I'll do that in a bit as I stall for some time. All right, I'm so silly, I forget there is a pause button. So, I did 26 out of 31 episodes for 84% of my game for my first milestone. All right, so my first milestone, here I am, out the gate, 84% of my game, I kept my word, right? So now, what do I want to say about that, right? Here's the thing, everyone. A lot of times in life when we perform, we don't complete on our performance. I know I don't complete on my performance. There is actually an opportunity to do just that, right? So what do I want to complete on? What I want to complete on is, do I have any resentments, right? Any regrets? Yeah, I didn't do 31 episodes, right? And I did plan out to have 31 episodes and to be caught up by the time this all completed, right? By October 31st, I at least was going to make my first milestone, right? Like that was where I went off track, because I said at least I started to quantify my performance with being okay with doing the floor. All right. So that's the first thing that I can see where I have a regret or a resentment, is I didn't play full out, reaching all the way for the stars. I began to get comfortable, complacent, and I began to settle for what I was able to do versus what I said I wanted to do, what I was going to do, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is I focused a lot on, a concern or a consideration about what was going to stop me. All right. And look, not bad and wrong. I totally got value out of looking and engaging in my podcast from that point of view of what stops me. Right. And so I think, though, what that created was an environment where what I then was encouraging to show up was where I got stopped. So of course it's like I'm inviting breakdowns to happen. Why? Because that's what I'm interested in, and that's what I said I need to do. So that's the second thing that I can see there, is where I had my attention on was inside of having something not happen. And that something that I didn't want to have happen was me not keep my word. And the thing that did happen was I didn't keep my word. Well, I didn't keep 100% of my word. I kept 84% of my word, which, as you know, isn't keeping your word. So I could see that, right? Now, like I said, again, it was really valuable. Also, to play inside of that arena from the place of no judgment. That's what I did. I did it from the place of no judgment, right? So now, anything else? Let's see, anything else? Quite possibly. There are a few others, right? And, from the work that I do, what I want to acknowledge, right? So there's the work that I did do, the things that I did discover, right? I actually thoroughly enjoyed doing my podcast earlier on in the day, and then being surprised and delighted when I go back and I see when somebody has listened to it. So there is something to doing it early on in the day, and I'm not attached to having it be at any particular time of day. I did notice, however, that it doesn't necessarily work for me to wait to do it until late at night. For one, my voice is typically more strained and tired, and I feel like I have to push through to have the sound quality be there. The other thing is it doesn't leave me any time for breakdowns, right? So if something were to come up, I now, so for example, Friday night, and this will be a whole other podcast I'm going to talk to you all about, but Friday night I got a Lyft ride 223 miles, right? And my intention was to go, I was working at the tattoo shop that day, to go drive a couple hours for Lyft, come home, record my podcast, and then go to bed. And the minute I got that ride and then accepted it, that meant I was now no longer going to get my podcast done. Yeah, sure, I could have recorded it while I was driving, but I couldn't. It would not have been safe for me to put it out and post it to the platforms that I posted to while I was driving. And I got back at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. All right, so doing it late at night in that sense doesn't work for me and doesn't give me the optimal opportunity to perform and keep my word. Right, so going into season 2, what am I creating? Right now, having completed on season 1 of Christine's Blessing, we're going into season 2, right? So this is season 2. We'll call this the pilot. We'll call this a pilot. Why? Because I don't really want to give it away as an episode, although we probably could. But whatever, right? Episode 1, season 2, episode 1, right? Completion and creation. Okay. So what do I want to create? What I want to create for season 2? I want to create 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All right. So we have 30 days in November. That's 30 podcasts. Right. So I'm gonna do 30 podcasts in the month of November, 1 podcast a day. Just like how I created for October. Now, I have this other game, my larger umbrella game, which is 365 podcasts in 365 days, of which I am technically 5 podcasts behind. All right. And I say technically, the asterisk is I did record podcast episode number 27. I did, but I never got it posted. Right. So it'll be included in season 2. Right. So season 2 will actually start with episode 27 and as of unofficially podcast episode number 1. I am going to have this be the pilot. Course correcting as we go here, folks. Right. Because that's not what life is all about. And that's one possible way to live life. And it's what I'm choosing to do now. Now, here's the thing. I have essentially 5 podcast episodes that I'm behind. Right? Now, I don't want to play the game of making up. Look, October is gone. There's no making up for October. October had 23 episodes in season 1. That's what's so. What I can do, however, inside of continuing to expand myself, I've been looking at having guest speakers on my podcast. And several people in my life have already expressed an interest in being a guest speaker on my podcast. So I think for the month of November, I am going to do 5 episodes with guest speaker, 5 bonus episodes, in addition to the 30 episodes I'm already going to do. Now, here's what's so. All right. There are 5 Tuesdays and 5 Mondays in the month of November. So as you know, inside of creating this, Monday and Tuesday, when I drop my podcast episode, let's just say Tuesday. We'll go with Tuesday. Why? Because today is Monday and it's not going to happen today. So tomorrow, we should be on the lookout for podcast episode 27 to finally drop, as well as my first ever guest appearance on Christine's Blessing. So, folks, this is what life is about. For those of you who have made it through season 1 and are picking up with season 2, I welcome you. Thank you for being here. For those of you who are joining us newly for season 2, and this is the first time you've heard me speak, welcome to you as well. My name is .com, and this is Christine's Blessing.